I don't take orders from you. Officer Derek stepped into her space, his finger jabbing toward her face. You don't tell me what to. Michelle gently pushed his hand away from her face. Defensive, minimal contact, completely justified. But to Officer Derek, it was an attack. His face contorted with rage. You just assaulted an officer. That's not what... The slap came so fast that nobody saw it coming. His palm connected with her cheek, with a crack that echoed through the marble hallway like a gunshot. Everything stopped. Michelle's head snapped to the side. Her cheek blazed red. The entire courthouse lobby fell into shocked silence. What happened next will leave you speechless. Comment where you're watching from. And if you believe people should be treated respectfully, hit the subscribe button and smash the like. This wasn't a case of mistaken identity. This was arrogance meeting consequence. And it all went down on a Friday afternoon that nobody in that Phoenix courthouse will ever forget. Michelle Washington didn't look like what people expected a judge to look like. And that was exactly the problem. At 38 years old, she'd spent the last 12 years clawing her way through the justice system. Public defender, prosecutor, senior legal counsel. She'd won cases that seemed impossible. She'd fought for people who had no one else fighting for them. And now, she was about to become the youngest presiding judge in Phoenix Municipal Court history. But here's the catch. Her official swearing in wasn't until Monday morning. It was Friday afternoon, and technically, she was still just Attorney Michelle Washington. No robe, no gavel, no power. Yet, Michelle had spent that entire Friday in settlement meetings downtown, the kind that drag on for hours with lawyers who love hearing themselves talk. She was exhausted. Her hair was pulled into a messy ponytail. She wore jeans, sneakers, and a leather jacket. She looked like someone who just finished running errands, not someone about to run an entire courtroom. She'd stopped by the courthouse to drop off some files before the weekend. Nothing official, just tying up loose ends. She was in and out, or at least that was the plan, but fate had other ideas. Officer Derek Martinez was stationed at the main security checkpoint that day, 6 weeks into his courthouse assignment, and already convinced he was running the place. Derek had that dangerous combination of a brand new badge and an old school ego, the kind of cop who thought intimidation was the same thing as authority. His partner, Officer Linda Vasquez, had already warned him twice that week. You can't treat everyone like a suspect, Derek. This is a courthouse, not a raid. Derek had waved her off. If they've got nothing to hide, they've got nothing to worry about. Famous last words. Michelle walked through the metal detector without issue, grabbed her bag from the conveyor belt, started heading toward the elevators. Simple, right? Wrong. Excuse me, Derek's voice cut through the lobby. Ma'am, I need you to stop right there. Michelle turned, confused. Is there a problem, officer? Derek walked toward her with that swagger. You know the type. Yeah, there's a problem. You just set off an alert. Michelle's eyebrows shot up. I didn't hear anything. The detector didn't beep. Internal alert, Derek said. Like that explained everything. It didn't, because there was no alert. He'd profiled her the moment she walked in. Young black woman in casual clothes. In his mind, she didn't belong. Okay, Michelle set her bag down slowly. What do you need? I need to search your bag, and I need to see ID. Now, Michelle knew her rights. She'd literally defended them in court hundreds of times. But she also knew something else, how quickly situations like this could escalate for people who looked like her. So she stayed calm. Of course. She pulled out her wallet, handed him her driver's license. Derek barely glanced at it. This doesn't tell me why you're here. I'm dropping off legal documents. I work with the court. Work with the court, Derek repeated mockingly. As what, exactly? Red flags were going off in Michelle's head, but she kept her voice level. I'm an attorney, soon to be a judge, actually. My swearing in is Monday. Derek actually laughed right in her face. Sure you are, and I am the chief of police. Officer Vasquez, who'd been helping someone else, looked over sharply. She recognized Michelle immediately. They'd crossed paths dozens of times. She started walking over, but Derek was already escalating. You know what I think? Derek stepped closer. I think you're lying. I think you're trying to access areas you don't belong in. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to empty that bag. Nice and slow. Michelle's jaw tightened. Officer, I've been nothing but cooperative. Then keep cooperating. Bag. Now. A small crowd was forming. Lawyers, court staff, people who definitely recognized Michelle Washington. Their expressions ranged from confused to horrified. Someone whispered, Is that but Derek was in his own world. Michelle slowly unzipped her bag, files, a laptop, a planner, her courthouse access badge, the old one she was supposed to turn in but hadn't gotten around to yet. She pulled it out. Here, my access badge. Michelle Washington, legal counsel to... Derek snatched it from her hand, studied it, then tossed it back at her. This is expired, dated last month. Because I'm transitioning to a new position. Sounds like an excuse to me. Sounds like you're using fraudulent credentials. Michelle's patience was wearing dangerously thin. Officer Martinez, she read his name tag. I'm asking you, respectfully, to call your supervisor or check with court administration. This is a misunderstanding that can be cleared up in 2 minutes. What I think, Derek's voice dropped low, is that you're refusing to comply, and that's a problem. I'm not refusing anything. I'm asking for... He grabbed her arm hard. You're coming with me, and that was the moment everything changed, because Michelle Washington had spent her entire career being underestimated, questioned, and disrespected, and she was done. Take your hand off me. Her voice was ice cold. Or what? Or you'll regret it. Derek's face flushed red. Did you just threaten a police officer? I stated a fact. Officer Vasquez finally reached them, slightly out of breath. Derek, let her go. That's Attorney Washington. I don't care if she's the Queen of England. She's being detained for... Derek, she's about to be a judge. Judge Washington. Let her go. But Derek was too far gone, too proud, too convinced he was right. He started pulling Michelle toward a holding area near courtroom 4B. She resisted, trying to yank her arm free. Stop resisting, Derek shouted. I'm not resisting. You're assaulting me. A courthouse security camera captured everything. Phones came out. Someone started recording. And Michelle, despite every instinct screaming at her to fight back, to pull rank, to make this man pay right then and there, she stayed as calm as she could until Derek shoved her. She stumbled backward, her shoulder hitting the wall. The crowd gasped. Officer Vasquez yelled, Derek, stop! Michelle straightened up slowly, her eyes blazing. You have 5 seconds to apologize and walk away. I don't apologize to criminals. I'm not a criminal. Then why are you acting like one? Michelle took a breath, tried one more time. Officer Martinez, you are making a serious mistake. I am asking you. I don't take orders from you. Derek stepped into her space, his finger jabbing toward her face. You don't tell me what to... Michelle gently pushed his hand away from her face. Defensive, minimal contact, completely justified. But to Derek, it was an attack, his face contorted with rage. You just assaulted an officer. That's not what... The slap came so fast that nobody saw it coming. His palm connected with her cheek with a crack that echoed through the marble hallway like a gunshot. Everything stopped. Michelle's head snapped to the side. Her cheek blazed red. The entire courthouse lobby fell into shocked silence. Officer Vasquez stood frozen, her hand over her mouth in absolute horror. The crowd erupted in gasps and shouts. And Michelle? She slowly turned her head back, her hand touching her burning cheek. Her eyes now cold and lethal. Badge number, she said quietly, dangerously quiet. Derek's chest was heaving, his hand still raised slightly, reality starting to dawn on him. You assaulted me first. Badge number. You don't get to demand. Derek! Officer Vasquez grabbed his arm, yanking him backward. You just struck Michelle Washington. Do you understand what you just did? The name hung in the air like a death sentence. Derek's face went pale. What? Who? Attorney Michelle Washington. She's been working here for over a decade. And on Monday, she becomes Judge Washington, presiding judge of this entire criminal division. You could actually watch the blood drain from Derek's face. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. The phones were definitely recording now. 7 different angles, all capturing the moment a cop's career ended with one slap. Michelle stood perfectly still, her hand still on her cheek, her eyes never leaving Derek's horrified face. And then she said the words that would haunt him forever. See you in court, Officer Martinez. That's when Captain Raymond Willis arrived at a near run. He took one look, Michelle's red cheek, Derek's panicked expression, the crowd of witnesses, the phones recording, and his face went stone cold. Martinez, my office, now. He turned to Michelle, his voice softening. Judge Washington, I am so deeply sorry. Are you hurt? Do you need medical attention? I'm fine, Captain. No, you're not fine. This is unacceptable. He couldn't even find the words. He looked at Derek with pure disgust. Move, now. Derek was escorted away, stammering excuses that nobody wanted to hear. Officer Vasquez stayed with Michelle, apologizing profusely, getting her ice, taking statements from witnesses. The security footage was pulled immediately. Everything was documented. Everything was recorded. Michelle sat in Captain Willis's office 20 minutes later, an ice pack pressed to her cheek, as Derek Martinez stood before her like a man facing execution. Because in a way, he was. Derek's voice cracked. I am so incredibly sorry. I made assumptions, terrible assumptions. I saw you and I didn't see an attorney or a judge. I just saw. He couldn't finish the sentence, because finishing it meant admitting what everyone already knew. He'd seen a young black woman in casual clothes and decided she was a threat, that she didn't belong, that she needed to be controlled. Michelle let the silence stretch, let him squirm. Then finally, she spoke. Officer Martinez, I want you to understand something. The reason I'm angry isn't just because you hit me. It's because you've probably treated dozens of people exactly like this. People who didn't have my credentials, my education, my connections. People who couldn't fight back. And you got away with it. Derek's eyes filled with tears. You abused your power because you thought I was powerless. That's not policing. That's tyranny with a badge. Captain Willis cleared his throat. Attorney Washington, what would you like to see happen here? Michelle considered it carefully. She could destroy him. One word from her, and Derek Martinez would never work anywhere again. Everyone in that room knew it. And you know what? She chose destruction. Captain Willis, Michelle's voice was ice cold. I want Officer Martinez arrested, right now. Assault and battery, violation of civil rights under color of law, false imprisonment. I want every charge that applies. Derek's face went from pale to white. Wait, please. I'm not finished. Michelle stood up, and despite the ice pack, despite the red mark still visible on her face, she looked like the most powerful person in that room. I'm filing a federal lawsuit against Officer Martinez personally and the department for failing to properly train and supervise him. I'm also pressing criminal charges, and I will be personally forwarding this case to the district attorney with a formal recommendation for prosecution. Captain Willis nodded grimly. I understand, and you have every right. And one more thing, Michelle continued. I want his badge. Permanently. He doesn't get to resign quietly. He doesn't get to transfer to another department. I'm filing formal complaints with the State Law Enforcement Board. Derek Martinez will never be a police officer again. Not in Arizona. Not anywhere. Derek's legs actually buckled. He grabbed the chair to steady himself. You can't. I have a family. You should have thought about that before you put your hands on me. Michelle's voice finally showed emotion, raw anger. How many other people have you done this to? How many people who didn't have my credentials, who couldn't fight back, who you knew would never be believed over a cop? Derek opened his mouth. Nothing came out, because they both knew the answer. That's what I thought. Michelle turned to Captain Willis. Are you going to arrest him, or do I need to call someone who will? Within the hour, Derek Martinez was in handcuffs. His badge was confiscated, his weapon secured. He was walked out of the courthouse in front of everyone. Lawyers, staff, officers, all watching the man who'd slapped a soon-to-be judge getting exactly what he deserved. The media picked up the story within hours. Cop arrested for assaulting federal judge-elect was trending on every news site. The video from the witnesses' phones went viral. Derek's face was everywhere. His life was over. But Michelle Washington? She wasn't done. Monday morning arrived. Her swearing-in ceremony was packed, standing room only. But Derek Martinez wasn't there. He couldn't be. He was sitting in a holding cell, waiting for his arraignment. Michelle placed her hand on the legal text and took her oath. When she said the words, "equal justice under law," everyone in that room knew she meant it. She'd proven it by refusing to let power and privilege protect someone who'd abused their authority. 2 weeks later, Derek's criminal trial began. And guess who was called as the primary witness? Judge Michelle Washington herself. She took the stand, raised her right hand, and testified to every detail. The grab, the shove, the slap, the humiliation. The jury took less than 3 hours to find Derek Martinez guilty on all counts. The judge, not Michelle, she'd recused herself from sentencing, gave him 18 months in county jail. No probation, no house arrest, real jail time. But the criminal conviction was just the beginning. Michelle's federal civil rights lawsuit hit Derek and the department for $2.7 million. The department settled. Their insurance paid. But Derek? He was personally liable for $300,000. His house, gone. His savings, wiped out. His pension, garnished for the next 20 years. And the state law enforcement board? They permanently revoked his peace officer certification. Derek Martinez would never wear a badge again. He couldn't even work as a private security guard. His career, destroyed. His finances, ruined. His freedom, taken. His reputation, obliterated. And Judge Washington? She went on to serve with distinction. Fair, but fierce. Compassionate, but uncompromising. And every single officer who entered her courtroom knew the story. They knew what happened to cops who abused their power. They knew Judge Washington didn't play games. The slap that echoed through courtroom 4B became a warning that spread through every law enforcement agency in Arizona. Respect isn't optional. Dignity isn't negotiable. And if you abuse your badge, there will be someone who fights back. Someone like Judge Michelle Washington. That's what happened when a cop slapped a woman in court and discovered she had the power to destroy him, and actually used it. So, what do you think? Was Judge Washington too merciless, or did she handle it perfectly? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you believe people should be treated fairly and respectfully, hit subscribe and comment respect.